Here's why aggressively cutting or bulking is a stupid thing that most people can do. Now, I'm not talking to you if you're a bodybuilder, if you are someone that's, a physique athlete. Yeah, I get it. That maybe is a better approach. Totally get it. Things are a little bit different. But I'm speaking to the guys that just want to look lean and be in shape all year round. Those that have worked hard to get in shape and want to actually maintain it. Those that want a life outside the gym, those that want full flexibility, those that want to be healthy, okay? This is the video for you. Now, I was in this whole cut and bulk approach for such a long time. This entire philosophy has come from bodybuilding, and it is very much kind of, infected what most people believe is the right approach. This is not really what you need to do. And I'm going to explain today exactly why not and the approach that I would take instead. Now, I remember when I was younger, I used to literally be that exact person. I would do a really aggressive bulk. Fortunately, with the way that I am and my genetics, I never really got that fat, but I still gained more body fat than I wanted. I'd get bloated, my skin would go bad. I'd be doing the whole dirty bulk thing, and I would not look as good as I wanted to. I'd certainly start losing my abs. I even remember one time when I competed and I came off the back of the competition, I was eating way too much food for my own liking. I gained a lot of weight, and I was certainly doing the whole bulk, and I was using it as an excuse to ultimately just gain unwanted body fat. And this is what most people do. People bulk as an excuse to just get fat, and they try and explain why their lack of discipline with food and their sloppiness is just the bulk. It's not really how things work. It is not impressive that you've got big biceps if you also have a big gut. Your gut is actually bigger, okay? We want to stay lean, fit, and strong all year round. We want to be able to take a shirt off and people notice, people stare, people think, yeah, that guy's in shape. But you also want to be able to wear a t-shirt, tight bicep vein coming through here, wearing your favorite clothes, looking good. You want the best of both worlds. That's why this is so important, that you don't get caught up in the whole cut bulk philosophy and just taking extremes to the other. So the approach that I take now is completely different. I strive on staying lean all year round, where I can be confident taking my shirt off. Most of the time I'm in a hot country. From where I live now, I'm either going to be in Thailand or Dubai, places where you want to be in shape all the time. And if you're not, it just affects your life. It affects your confidence, and you just feel a bit out of place. So it keeps me at my A game, and it keeps me wanting to constantly stay fit, stay lean. And this is exactly what I would recommend that you do. So let's get into this. Now, this is what I call my main gain approach, okay? We are maintaining, but we are also slightly gaining. So it's a kind of mix of both. Now, this only applies once you are in shape, okay? You need to be in shape first. Now, if you need to know how to get in shape, I've got a ton of videos on my YouTube channel. You can go away and watch them. Of course, you can click the link in the bio. You can get some coaching with us, and we can get you there. But once you are in shape, this is the approach that you need to take. Now, when I say in shape, this is getting to the position as to where you can see your abs, okay? We are at around 10 to 14% body fat, where you look chiseled, you've got a six pack, you look good, you've got, veins in your biceps, everything's in a good place. You've got the lean athletic physique. That is pretty much where we go. Not necessarily real lean, like, cover model shred. We're just thinking lean, fit, as I say, take your shirt off, look good, keep your shirt on, also look good. That is what I would call the phase that you would want to get to before you start looking at this longer term approach. Now, if you've just busted your ass off to get in good shape and you worked hard and you've been disciplined and you've been patient, like, you want to maintain it. What is the point in then going on a massive bulk, losing your abs, and just not feeling confident again? You can avoid that. You don't need to do that, okay? Especially if you're in no rush to build muscle and you're not, competing or whatever, right? It's a totally different approach if that's what you're trying to do. I get it. Of course, if you want to gain muscle in as quick time as possible, you might gain a bit more body fat, but that's just not how I want to do things. It's not how the type of clients that we coach want to do things. We do things a bit differently. This is what I would prefer. So main gain is essentially maintaining, but obviously gaining a little bit. How do we do the whole main gain approach? This is how. Firstly, small calorie surplus. Now, surplus is where you are eating more calories in the body, the amount of calories that you burn every single day. Okay, so deficit is obviously consuming less calories than the calories you burn, so we lose body fat. Surplus is the complete opposite. We're actually eating more food so that we gain. However, the key word in here is small. We are not eating in a big surplus, because guess what? A big surplus is going to lead to body fat gain. If you're eating in like 500 to 1,000 calorie surplus, you are going to gain body fat. You are not just going to gain lean muscle. That is just unfortunately not the reality, you are going to. So what we want to do is we want to eat in a small surplus. Now, this is probably only going to be maybe like a couple of 100, 300 calories, even 100 calories above our maintenance. So if you maintain your weight on 3,000 calories per day, this is going to be pretty much eating about 3,001, 3,200 calories. That's it. You don't need to eat more than that. That is still enough to gain muscle. You can gain muscle from being at maintenance. You can get stronger and you can gain muscle. So don't compromise body fat levels and energy levels for you to gain muscle what you believe to be at a faster rate. So that's what I mean by small surplus. Number two, high protein intake. Now, this is a non-negotiable all year round, no matter what. If you are a person that strives to be in shape all the time and you always want to be lean and you always want to have an aesthetic physique, high protein intake is just a non-negotiable. Every single meal you consume, you need to have protein inside of it. You can't just start, going back to what you did previously. It is a lifestyle. High protein is anything. Anytime you choose an option when you go out, has it got 30 grams of protein in it? Okay. Anytime you eat, you need to make sure you have protein. And if you want to maintain your physique, get stronger, build muscle, and also maintain lean composition, high protein intake is essential. Now, you need to be aiming for probably around 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight. That is realistically the goal. You could go a little bit higher if you wanted to. For me, for example, like I maintain probably around I'm about 190 pounds, 200 pounds roughly. I will eat about that in my protein, slightly higher just because it keeps me more full. I'll probably have about 220 grams of protein per day, roughly. That works for me. And that is all year round. That is not, just depending on my goals at the time, all the time, because high protein is a lifestyle and you're always making sure that you do that. Number three is consistency with your training. Okay. Again, you should not ever not be training and lifting weights and not getting stronger unless you're injured. Okay. I will always lift weights. No matter what my goal is, no matter what I'm working towards, weight training is the same thing. You're always keeping it in there. And the way that we train, if it's, gaining muscle, losing body fat, it's exactly the same. It doesn't need to be different, okay? You're not changing reps. You're not changing, intensity to your training. It's the same, okay? Consistency with your training is essential. You want to have a lean body composition all year round where you look good. You need to make sure you're consistent with your training week in, week out. And I mean at least 3 days per week. I train 4 weight sessions per week, sometimes 5, but at the moment it's 4. And for most of our guys, it'll be 3 to 4 days per week again, okay? We need to make sure that consistency in the training is there. Even on bad weeks, we're getting to the gym and we're getting stronger and we're pushing tin, we're pushing weight, okay? Then we go on to number 4. Now, what do I mean by number 4? This is constantly assessing body fat levels. This is a big part of the main gaining strategy because you need to make sure you're not getting fat. This is being self-aware and actually just looking at the scale weight, looking in the mirror and making sure you're still lean. Now, I strive to keep my weight in a certain kind of parameter so that I know that I'm not gaining too much body fat. For me, if I start climbing at 90 and I kind of creep towards, 91, 92, I'm like, I need to be a bit leaner. I'm still not that. I've still got abs, but I like to stay shredded, right? So I will make sure that that is my happy weight. I don't just say I need to be 90. I say, okay, I'm gonna try and hover between 88 and kind of 91. That's like my happy place, my happy zone. But it's also the same with visuals. Like I can look in the mirror and decide, yeah, I'm happy, I'm still lean, I still got my 6-pack. There's been times where I feel like, okay, maybe I'm getting a little bit softer here. Like, after Christmas, I was like, I'm not as shredded as I used to be. So for me, I was like, cool, right, I need to, maybe drop a little bit. But assessing body fat is essential. If you want to stay lean all year round, you cannot be scared of scale weight. You cannot be scared of looking in the mirror, okay? You need to stay on top of that. I see myself, I look in the mirror, I see myself every single day and I have a good judgment as to whether I'm where I want to be with my body composition. And it's the same with scale weight. I weigh myself every morning and again, I know where I am. And if I start to see this change a little bit, then I know that I need to make a change to my diet or I need to be a little bit more disciplined. Very simple. The last, but the most important thing is this is a long-term approach. This is a lifestyle. This is not cut bulk. This is a main gaining approach that you will do. This is for longevity. This is for health. This is the entire process. It is a long-term approach. You do not do this for, a set amount of time and you just kind of fall off the wagon again. Because guess what? If you fall off the wagon, a lot of guys do, you will go back to square one and you will then have to lose body fat again. You will then have to get back to all the basics, all the fundamentals to getting back into shape again. This is the long term of once you get to this position, this is your entire protocol. This is you. This is what you do all the time, okay? You eat a small surplus or potentially you could go back into a bit of a mini cut. I've not covered that on here, but let's let's say you do want to get that little bit leaner sometimes, you could mini cut, but then you go back to main gain again. So you're kind of rotating between mini cut or small surplus, or even just at maintenance, that's also fine. You're high protein, you're consistent with your training, and you're setting body fat on the regular so that you don't end up falling off the wagon, and this becomes a long-term approach. Very, very simple. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you apply this to your life, when you're in shape, you will never struggle to keep the fat off. You'll stay lean, you'll stay strong, you'll stay shredded, and you'll stay athletic. It is very, very simple. And this is why I am not a fan of cutting and bulking. You don't need to cut and bulk, you just need to do that instead. Because when you do that, you can still gain muscle, bulk. You don't need to cut because you're already lean. And if you do want to cut, it's a very simple process. It's just a few weeks rather than months and months of dieting. You can basically just kind of, stay between doing them both. Whereas as soon as you aggressively cut and aggressively bulk, you're never really going to look great all the time, and you're just going to be doing one extreme to another, and it's just going to not lead to a particularly enjoyable life. That approach allows me to be flexible. It allows me to enjoy my life. I know that I can have a drink. I know that I can eat out on the weekends, because that approach is just very simple. It's very easy for me to be able to do that with. So that's why I'm a massive fan of that, and I just don't do the whole cut bulk to an extreme level anymore, because it's just not necessary. And if you are a busy guy, exactly the same, and that resonates with you, this is exactly the approach that I'd recommend that you're doing as well. So I hope this makes sense. Make sure you smash the like button if it does. Make sure you are subscribing for future videos and hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I post. As always, guys, I'll catch you in the next video.